This is the peaceful village of Pavnar in Maharashtra. The banks of the river Dham is a serene setting for the Pavnar ashram, which houses the Samadhi of one of modern India's great spiritual leaders, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. To hundreds of his followers, Acharya Vinoba Bhave's teachings continue to have a compelling relevance in everyday life. September 11, 1995, Pavnar Ashram celebrates the Acharya's birth centenary with the characteristic simplicity that marked the great man himself. It is an occasion for hundreds of his followers to gather at the ashram to once again express their deep commitment to his ideals. The ashram hums with activity as guests stream in to pay their homage to their spiritual guide. The ashramites are kept busy, cooking and serving simple meals, sprucing up the ashram, and putting finishing touches to the latest publication on Baba, as the Acharya was lovingly called. Sushila recalls, "I asked my husband, why were we not born in the age of Ram and Krishna? Is life meant only for eating and enjoyment?" My husband replied, "Certainly not. In our age too, there is a Ram. He is called Vinoba." The immensity of Baba's wisdom dawned on Gautam Bajaj only after the Acharya had passed away. "My whole family had been living with him, so his ashram is like home to me. When he was alive, I did not fully appreciate the depth of his thoughts. There are many people who have mystic experiences but lack the power of words and language to describe them. But Baba was able to put it across."
उनके साहित्य के प्रकाशन का है, उनके जो साहित्य का हम तैयार कर रहे हैं उसपे से ध्यान में आता है कि उनके विचारों में कितनी अधिक गहराई थी। पहले हम सुनते थे तो इतना ध्यान में नहीं आया जितना आज ध्यान में आता है। दुनिया में कई लोग होते हैं जिनको गूढ़ अनुभव होते हैं, मिस्टिक एक्सपीरियंसेस उनके पास होते हैं, लेकिन उनके पास शब्द की शक्ति नहीं होती है।
Born Vinayak Narhar Bhave on the 11th of September 1895 in the village of Gagore in Kolaba district, he was, as a schoolboy, indifferent to conventional education, but found books on ancient Indian culture and the Gita irresistible. He developed a deep longing to discover the inner truth that he instinctively sensed was to be found within oneself. This became his magnificent lifelong obsession. instead of continuing his higher studies in Bombay, which would be followed by the mundane pursuit of a job, Vinayak turned towards the holy city of Benares. There, he came across a speech that struck a resounding chord within him. That speech had been delivered by none other than Mahatma Gandhi. Vinayak had found a kindred soul. Compelled by Gandhiji's views, he moved into the great man's ashram. It was Gandhiji who gave him the name Vinoba. Following frequent bouts of illness, Baba was advised to shift to a hill station. During that time, he came across Jamnalal Bajaj's holiday resort in Pavnar. This became his base, his ashram, until his dying day. He opened in Pavnar an ashram for women in search of their spiritual selves. Baba firmly believed that women had a great capacity for spiritual growth. Devi, an ashramite, has this to say: when Baba came to Indore in 1960, I was already experiencing a restlessness. I had an urge to find my inner self. When Baba spoke about the Lok Yatra, I decided to join him. I have been in the ashram since 1980. Baba had great faith in women. He said the world was moving towards violence and that it would be safer to hand over power to the women. Another ashramite, Jyoti, adds her comments. Baba said it was not right that women should live on charity. They should work for themselves, for their own spiritual growth. They should solve their own problems. To this day, the ashram follows the lifestyle that Baba introduced. And there can be no greater endorsement of his life principles. One of these principles is the irrelevance of money, which is a startling concept in the present-day context. But there is hardly any money involved in the day-to-day running of the ashram. The ashramites wear khadi, spun by themselves, just as Baba did. The ashram garden set up by Baba yields enough food for the ashramites and guests. And the surplus is bartered for other necessities. The only funds come from the sale of books based on Baba's teachings published by the ashram, which are printed in the small printing press that belongs to the ashram. These funds are directed towards the maintenance of the ashram. So successful is this system that the ashram is triumphantly self-reliant, never needing to beg for funds from external sources. Baba had a great love for books, especially on different religions. Like all great thinkers, he too added his own prolific writings to the vast library of spiritual wisdom. The best loved work is his interpretation of the Gita, which he translated into Marathi with such skillful simplicity that it can be easily understood by simple folk. In translating the Gita, he fulfilled his beloved mother's wish, but only after she had passed away. He was a Gandhian in the purest sense, believing passionately in non-violence and in the dictum that land, water and air belong equally to all people. Deeply disturbed by the vast divide between the very rich and the miserably poor, he launched his famous Bhudan movement, which sought to persuade rich landowners to share their land with those who labored so tirelessly upon it. So persuasive was he, so deeply respected, that landowners found it hard to resist his simple yet revolutionary plea. It was in the village of Pochampalli that the Bhudan movement got underway when the first landowner, Ramchandra Reddy, stepped forward to pledge several acres of his land to the poor. Baba's immense compassion went beyond his concern for people. It also extended to animals. He fought a long and hard battle against cow slaughter. The Pavnar Ashram stands as a testimony to Baba's grand legacy. Though its corridors are now empty of his physical presence, his spirit and books continue to guide and inspire millions of his followers. Today, when violence and terrorism are seen as the answers to the problems of the world, Baba's teachings assume an even greater relevance. We pay our humble homage to the saint who dedicated his life to serve the God he saw in every individual. The ashram hums with activity as guests stream in to pay their homage to their spiritual guide. This is the peaceful village of Pavnar in Maharashtra. To hundreds of his followers, Acharya Vinoba Bhave's teachings continue to have a compelling relevance in everyday life. September 11, 1995, Pavnar Ashram celebrates the Acharya's birth centenary with the characteristic simplicity that marked the great man himself. The banks of the river Dham is a serene setting for the Pavnar Ashram, which houses the Samadhi of one of modern India's great spiritual leaders, Acharya Vinoba Bhave. It is an occasion for hundreds of his followers to gather at the ashram to once again express their deep commitment to his ideals.